MMAWeekly.com, Damon Martin here with UFC lightweight and UFC on FX headliner Melvin Guillard. Melvin, big fight, main event. When you get the call to be in a big fight like this, do you take it as an honor? Does it put more pressure on you? How do you accept that with the UFC?
I accept every fight for the UFC the same way. Whether I'm on the undercard, whether I'm the main event, whether it's a fight night, whether it's a pay-per-view, every fight's important. I have fun either way when I jump in there and fight. To headline a fight like FX for the first time against a guy like Jim Miller, I think they made the right call. I'm the guy for the job. That's how I feel. And of course, Jim Miller's the guy for the job. I mean, we're two of the best guys in our weight class, and it's going to be an epic fight.
Before this fight, we know you switched camps officially to the Blackzilians. You've been working with them for this full camp. The reaction online, it's been, people are just like, why do you leave Jackson's? What was going on? Are people making too big a deal out of that?
Yeah, I think they are. I mean, if you look at guys like my former teammate Clay Guida and Brian Staines, Clay lives in Chicago, trains with Izzy, and he comes and he does his camps at Jackson's. Brian Staines trains and lives in Atlanta, and he trains with a very successful gym there, and he leaves and come and do his camps at Jackson's. I mean, I didn't see what the big deal was, but I think a lot of it came from the whole John Jones-Rashad thing. But what people really not understanding and not listening to me when I talk, both of those guys, Rashad's like a brother to me, and John's a good friend of mine, a former teammate, and we get along great. Neither one of those guys ask me about each other when I'm with them. I think they made it more about that than more about me. And I think at the end of the day, a lot of people really missed the message of what I was trying to say.
And I know you love the guys at Jackson. You flat out said, there's nothing wrong. You may go back there one day. But tell me, what is it that's unique about the Blackzilian team?
For me, I needed that traditional BJJ groundwork. I also went there to work my wrestling full-time with Coach Van Arsdale and Rashad Evans, guys that are college caliber wrestlers. I wrestled in college, but only for a short time. Yeah, I was a state champion, but, I still had to sharpen up the tools that got me to where I'm at today. And that's all it was about, that was the judgment call. Coach Winklejohn was an amazing coach for me. I loved his style of striking. But I also fell in love with Coach Henry teaching me the Dutch kickboxing, from Amsterdam. When you really look at all the successful strikers in K1, they all Dutch. So, for me to go and pick up, and I had to learn a whole new system to add to the system I already know, because as people know, I use my style and I learn from other people, but I use it and take it and make it my own. So, it was a little tricky for a little bit, but in order for me to be successful at learning that style, I had to stay. And that's where my decision grew more to where I lean more towards the Blackzilians.
Jim Miller's a guy that's been on the radar for you for a while. Everyone kind of thought you guys were going to fight last year. You have a lot of respect for him. Does that change anything for you when you train? I mean, you train the same for every fight, but when this guy's a grinder, he's a tough guy, he's hard to put away. I mean, does that make you push yourself even harder in the gym?
I mean, I push myself hard in the gym regardless, man. I mean, it's not only my childhood dream, but it's my job. It's what I do full time, and coming in here, being able to perform in front of a crowd and actually fighting the UFC that should be more motivation than anything, I don't train to fight a certain guy. I train to fight. So I don't sit there and dwell every day on what Jim Miller can do to me. I worry about going in there, executing my game, and fighting my fight, because that's what I've been doing for the last 15 fights I've had in the UFC, and that's the way I fight. But yeah, did I have to make some adjustments? Yeah, I always have to make certain adjustments because, a guy like Jim Miller, he has decent stand-up, but he has a real good ground game. So I had to go in and make a game plan and put something together to actually fight Jim Miller. But I don't stress that, because if I do, Jim Miller gets hurt leading up to the fight and he backs out, I have to be prepared to fight whoever else they put in front of me.
Last question. You told me when I talked to you a couple weeks ago that your perspective on the title has changed. So with this being a main event fight, a lot of people are looking at it as a contender spot type fight. Is it more just about the fight now and just putting all that other stuff in the background?
Yeah, it's more about the fight, man. I got to take it one fight at a time. And like Warren Donnelly told me, my high school wrestling coach, a long time ago, every fight's a title fight. So to me, I feel like I'm going into a title fight against Jim Miller on Friday, and it's cool, and I have to prepare myself this way because when I do fight for the title one day, I have to make sure that I can take it emotionally and physically at the same time, because people don't realize the emotional roller coaster you're on when you have to prepare for a fight that's the biggest fight of your life. Right now, this Jim Miller fight is probably the biggest fight of my career.
Awesome. Thank you, Melvin.
Thank you.